He said, why didn't you read this report? I said, I was really upset, and I was just reacting. So he goes on, he says, okay, this is a document, blah, blah, blah. So we go step by step, step by step. And he says, okay, according to this report, it doesn't mention your daughter is molested somewhere. The conclusion of this medical examiner is that your daughter has an UTI.
Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Crib Sheet. I don't know. How has your week been, Shana?
No, my week has been good.
Okay.
It's cold though. It's cold. But it's been good.
Okay. And yet another episode where we have Kimani.
Did you tell you guys we'll bring him back? And now he's here.
Look at him. How have you been since we last saw each other?
I've been good. Doing all the good things. Doing the right things. It's been a good week. The amazing part is just I get time to spend with my daughter, and also work as well. I enjoy what I do. Looking forward to it. But a little bit cold than usual. Not that cold. I mean, as long as it's not snowing, no blizzards out there. Yeah, it's been good. I've been good. Very grateful. Yeah.
You didn't do any bad things since the last time you left?
No birthdays. There's birthdays if there's a cake. It doesn't matter who birthday, but if there's a cake, it's someone's birthday. Yeah. So we have to.
About any
Bad things.
evil.
Oh, evil. No. We like I said, people do bad things to make them look bad. People are not bad. We do evil things to make we look evil, but basically human beings are good people, but they do bad things.
Hang out with Hilda. She'll show you how to do it.
Trust me. Anyways, my week has been amazing. It has been such a busy week. Man, like with what I do and the cold, you don't expect it to be busy, but it looks like people are really into the business of taking care of themselves. So guys are doing the most. I've had one of the busiest weeks this month. And just sitting here and enjoying this episode is something I've been looking forward to this week. So in this episode, we're going to talk about divorce. And we can't wait for Kimani to spill the tea. Right, Sheila?
Yeah, but before we get there, do people know what you do when you say it's
Everyone knows what I do. Go to the last episode of season 2. You will learn about everything that I do. So,
yeah. And why it's called by everyone is going to Hilda.
Yes.
Now, Kimani,
Yes.
you're here for the tea.
Shoot.
So, what's your story?
There's 3 stories. There's always 3 sides to a story. There's my story, your story, and the truth. So we'll have versions of what happened, what could have happened, how we reacted. But it all boils down to how you react to a situation. Let me start. Where can I start? How we met. We'd gone out with friends, and we started a conversation. She came out. She had gone out with her friends, and I was with my friends. So we just started talking, and we exchanged numbers, and we kept talking for a while. We didn't get to. Let me say we didn't get to actually get married until after 3 years after we met. We never lived together. She used to live with her parents, and I had my own place, so she used to come over. But during this time, it's hard for you to know someone. Someone comes, spends a night, a day, they're gone. It's very difficult for you to know actually who you are with, or who you've met. So when you actually get to move in with someone, actually day one is when this is who I'm moved in with. I'm married to X. Um, but anyway, we decided to get married. It was a traditional marriage, but however, it didn't actually happen because she was pregnant. So we went to a place and they're like, okay, traditionally it can happen because she's pregnant, but we do give you permission. You can take our girl and you can go get married. You can make sure you come back. Come back after she gives birth. So we never went back for some reason. I guess events. The baby came along. Everyone was really excited. Um, But as time goes by, you live in the same roof with someone, you share the same bed. I mean, you get to know someone better, as opposed to someone coming, sleeping over, and they leave. So basically, when you get to live with someone, I usually tell people the honeymoon is over. Um, Honeymoon is when you're dating. You're excited to see each other. You go places, you meet for trips. You have a nice time. Everything is great. Everything is all hunky dory. But I mean, you have to see the real person. Um, so I mean, we started off well. I mean, the child came in. I mean, she wasn't working. So I personally did everything. Um, but then after, let me say, the red flags are all over the place. Um, I mean, sitting back and looking, I look back and see, what could have changed? What did I miss? It was all over the place. I just decided to ignore it. It's gonna go away, or maybe that's not how things are. Um, but it's a lesson. We live and learn. It's nothing to discourage someone from moving on. But going back to the story, things took a twist at, let me say a year after. That's when I started seeing some, unusual behavior. So confronting that situation, someone is defensive. That's when now, things started, let me say build up of where I am now. Um, so basically, yeah, that's how things started. So she kind of, got upset because I kind of raised an issue in the household, and she wasn't happy about it. Um, so I mean, I see these things on the movies, but I experienced that stuff. She moved from the bedroom, and now she's living in the living room. Um, so at first it bothered me, but I'm like, okay, fine. It's because I've raised that concern here, and you're being defensive about it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, if you feel comfortable in the living room, I mean, knock yourself out. And life moved on. I mean, for a while, and then she moved back. Um, but again, something again happened. I had to confront her about a situation. Again, she wasn't happy. Now she decided, well, I'm leaving, and I'm taking the baby with me. My daughter was about less than 2 years old. Let me say 1 year old. So she took off. She went to the parents, and she stayed there for almost 4 months. And she's like, you need to come and get me. You need to come and get me from my parents. I said, why should I come and get you? I didn't kick you out. You just packed and left. So she insisted that you have to come and get me. I said, no, I'm not coming to get you. And I gave her an ultimatum. I said, by the end of this day or this particular day, if you don't come back, I'm moving to a smaller house, and that's it. And I'm never coming back for you. So finally, she calls me. I go and pick her up, of course, with the baby, and now we come into a smaller house. So again, we have to move to a bigger house because I'd made up my mind. I didn't kick you out. You just got upset and you walked away. So yeah, we got a bigger house, and you know, but things were still not okay. And now cheating started. And it went on for a while, confronting her, very defensive. Um, Basically, that was it. For like 2 years. Let me say 2 years. That was it. So I kind of stepped back and said, okay, I need. This is not working for me. I've talked to her. She's not going to change. Now I need to get out of this relationship. I just don't know how to get out, but it's time I walk away. Even if there's a kid, that was my decision. Um, I didn't think it was going to go the divorce way. Um, I wasn't prepared for that, but I was prepared to leave because of that situation. And what actually made me decide this is it is one day she calls me. She said, "I need today. I'm gonna pick the baby from school." I said, "Why?" She said, "I just want to spend time with her." And I said, "Okay."
So, just that issue for that time you guys have separated or you still.
Oh, we're still living in the same house, but in different, sleeping differently. So she calls me at work and says, "Today I'm going to pick up my daughter." I said, "Why?" I mean, she was always absent. So you need to call the driver, tell him that I'll pick. I said, "Okay, fine." So I call the driver and I pass the message. So she calls me. I call her about, I think about an hour, 2 hours later. That was about 6 p.m. I was still at work and I asked her, "Why are you guys home?" She says, "No." I ask her, "Where are you guys?" "We're at Nairobi Women's Hospital." So I ask her, "What are you guys doing there?" And she says on the phone, I'll never forget this day. She said, I think our daughter has been sexually assaulted." And I was shocked. I was really shocked. And she said, "Have you not realized the way she's when we talk, she's scared. She looks really scared when we're talking." And I said, "Yeah, I've noticed she's scared, but have you noticed when she's around you, she's scared?" I said, "No, I haven't noticed anything." Because I would walk in, she's from school, she would come and sit here and we'd talk. And I said, "Okay, that could be because we yell at each other in front of her, which is very unhealthy." She said, "No, but I'm still going to have her checked." And I said, "Okay." So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, they haven't come back home yet. They show up at 10 o'clock. And, she has all this paperwork about all these tests, blood test and everything. Everything is negative. And I'm like, "Do you really have to do this? I mean, why?" And she says, she looks at me and says, "You're a suspect." And I was shocked. I was really shocked. And I said, "What do you mean I'm a suspect?" "Yes, because our daughter has been molested, has been sexually assaulted." "And how do you know that?" And all these tests, they're negative. So how do you conclude that she's been molested? She didn't have an answer. Again, we are sleeping in different rooms. But going back, let me say, a year before, at the height of COVID, I didn't have a job. She didn't have a job, but somehow, I was able to make some money. I used to sit in a board. I used to get allowances. So actually, that sustained us. Also had a side hustle. We started a delivery company, so we used to make some money. And I remember one day, you know, it's in the evening, and I was wanting to go to my parents' house, and she says, "I'm leaving as well. I need to go somewhere." I said, "Where are you going?" "Well, I'm just going to see a friend." So I was like, "Okay." But during the day, I noticed some, you could tell you live with someone, you could tell something is not right. And I came to find out she's going to meet someone else, some some older guy. So I said, "Okay, listen, I dare you leave this household and go meet this guy. I dare you." So I'm going to where I'm going with my daughter, and you're coming back, but I dare you to leave. So I said, what's the relationship between you and this guy? She said, oh, this guy is helping me get a job, start a business. I said, start a business? What do you mean start a business? Conversation didn't go well. A lot of yelling, and I left the house. So I came back maybe 3 hours later with my daughter. And of course, I knew she had not left because she was dressed the same way she was dressed that day. And I said, okay, fine. We need to talk now because you've taken this to another level and we need to have a conversation. I was very upset and I said, okay, uh, none of us has a stable job. It's at the height of a pandemic. Who knows when it's going to end? Now, you have to do something to be in this house. There's bills to be paid. You can't just be living the way you are. You need to chip in. You need to take responsibility. And she looks at me. She says, "Utajipanga." That conversation came to that point when I said, "Okay, we have a school bus which I used to pay for every month." So I said, instead of paying X amount of shillings, why don't you drop her in the morning, and when I come back in the evening, I pick her up. And that's what she said, utajipanga. I said, okay, fine. Wacha nikupange. So we have electricity in this house, we have food. So what you'll do is you'll sort yourself out from going forward now in terms of all these other miscellaneous things in the house. You'll have to do it yourself. And this continued for about a month. And then now this incident of now accusing me of molesting my own child. So after that, we stayed for about another month, and then I said, okay, it's the holidays now, and I'll take my daughter to my parents' house. I said, okay. So she comes back. She says, well, if you take her there, make sure your mom is taking care of her because she was molested. This is a month later. So I said, what proof do you have? You keep saying this all the time. So what proof do you have? And she goes back. She comes with a big piece of paper. I think it's twice as big as a nation newspaper, and she throws it on the table. And she said, "Yeah, she was molested." And I went silent for like 5 minutes. I said, "What?" And I opened the document. I didn't read the document. All I remember looking at the document says Ministry of Health, the Republic of Kenya, post-exam examination. And it had all these diagrams, check marks, some writings, and I was shocked. I said, "This report is 1 month old. Why are you showing it to me now?" She's like, "Well, I think you need to make sure your daughter is taken care of. I think she was molested." I said, "Did you report this to the police?" So she says, you need to make sure your mom is taking care of her. Well, I said, when she goes there, she has her own bedroom. There's nothing I can think of because no one else shows up in that house. And I opened the document, and I didn't read the document. So there was a lot of yelling. Immediately, I just said, let me call my folks and see what's going on. It's about 11 o'clock at night. So they were shocked. And, they said, okay, you guys relax. We can sort this out in the morning. So in the morning, I said, actually, before we went to bed, I said, we need to go to the police tomorrow morning, and you're coming along. She said, I'm not going. I said, you're going. She said, I'm not going. I said, fine. So in the morning, I got my daughter up ready, and I'm like, okay, now listen. You're leaving this house today, and you're not welcome here again. When you leave today, make sure you're not coming back. And just know that. So I locked the house, left, went to my parents' house, and everyone is waiting for me. Everyone is shocked what is going on, and of course I have the report now, plus the medical, plus the blood work. So my mom she used to be a nurse, so we start having this conversation, and I have a twin brother. He walks in and says, "Okay, you guys, what are you talking about?" And I told him what's going on. And he says, you guys, you need to report this because if this goes any further, you'll end up losing this child to child services. So he's like, okay, I have a friend of mine who is in law enforcement, so let me ask him what you guys can do. So he said, okay, since it's been more than 72 hours, there's nothing that can be done. But the best thing you can do is report it. So I proceeded, and I think that the next step, my next step was to, the nearest police. So I went there. Of course, it's just in the neighborhood. And, the reaction to these guys was really, it made the situation look even worse. So this guy, the officer at the desk, he's like, okay, he's listening to what I'm saying. And he said, okay, you mean she waited for 1 month to show you this report? So yeah. And she's like, excuse you guys, can come and hear this story. So she's calling the other cops.
Kenyan police.
Yeah.
I know that.
Hey, kujeni msikie hii maneno hapa. So they come and I'm explaining everything, and I'm like, the guy goes, okay, listen, I think this woman is trying to cover up something, and she's not coming clean with you. So there's a cover up here. They never even read the report themselves. Just because it's a long document, they're like, okay, this lady is trying to cover up someone here. Maybe something happened, and she doesn't want to tell you. So they asked me about the chain of events and blah blah blah. They're like, okay, we cannot assist you here. You cannot record anything. You have to go to where you reside. So you have to go back to where you used to stay, and very very much, I didn't know the government was well equipped to deal with such cases. So they have a special office for that. So we went there. I explained what is going on. And then the officer asked me, have you read this report? And he's looking at it. He hasn't read it himself. There's two ladies in the room, and there's a gentleman. Now, the officer, he said, have you read this report? And I said, no. He said, okay, you guys will need to step outside. We go through this report, and then we'll call you back. And I said, okay. So of course, I'm with my daughter and my brother. So we step out. And, 10 minutes later, they call us. They're like, okay, you said you haven't read this report. So what I'm going to tell you guys is the same thing you would have gotten from a medical examiner or anyone. Because this is just plain self-explanatory. So he said, why didn't you read this report? I said, I was really upset, and I was just reacting. So he goes on, he says, okay, this is a document, blah, blah, blah. So we go step by step. And he says, okay, according to this report, it doesn't mention your daughter is molested somewhere. The conclusion of this medical examiner is that your daughter has an UTI. So I'm like, I asked this guy, are you serious? Yeah, he says, yeah, according to this report, you can read it here. It says your daughter has a UTI. She's a girl, and I'm pretty sure she goes to a public school where they share the facilities, and this thing is very common with girls. And then it came back to my mind. I'd been at the hospital more than once because of a UTI, and the instructors were make sure your daughter drinks a lot of water. So this guy says, there's nothing, according to this report, there's basically nothing about your daughter being molested. But he says, okay, she's here with you? Yeah, you need to talk to her. So they call her. But before they call her, they said, okay, how old is she? She's 5 years old. Just note that you cannot coach a 5-year-old child. It's going to be next to impossible. So whatever she'll tell us will be the truth. So because she's here, we need to talk to her. So we step outside. They spend about 20 minutes, and then they call us. They say, no one touched your daughter. So they're like, just brush it off. Just move on with life. Because the lady said, I know where you're going with this, but just let it go. Nothing happened to your daughter. And we don't know why the mother didn't explain to you this, because she was told the same thing at the hospital where she got this document. And that was it. That was the end of the relationship, basically. So, of course, she has moved. She's living with my daughter. So I said, now I need to finalize this because I can't live with someone who's gonna do such stuff because I don't know where she was going with it. So I called my family and I said, this is what I want to do. This thing needs to end. And then my uncle says, okay, yeah, I mean, of course, I didn't tell them why. So he said, okay, fine. Are you sure this is what you? I said, yeah, I'm ready for this. So he said, this process is very short. Traditionally, it's very short, and this is the procedure. You don't have to be there because it was a traditional thing. It's very short. We don't need to make an announcement that we're going. We'll just show us where the household is. We'll go there, pass the message, and that's it. And that's exactly what happened. So now, fast forward, of course, she had to come and pick her stuff from the house. Now knowing who I was dealing with, I had to ask someone to come and be present during the whole process. So that's how it ended.
We need to learn how to read terms and conditions.
Exactly.
Right?
Well,
Because if you actually read that document, you would have saved you a lot.
Yeah.
no. Well, it would have saved me a trip
Yeah.
to the law enforcement,
Yeah.
but I had already made up my mind.
Why didn't you read it? Like,
Hasira ni hasara.
Yeah, I was really emotional. Temper was up there.
and thinking about it at that time, did you at any point consider that whatever she had said might be true? Like,
Oh yeah, I was really convinced. But what actually I was having, what made me have doubts, is because you're saying this happened, but you never you never reported to the law enforcement. So I just kind of, I'm like, why did you not report? Because you have a document here which, according to you, says X, Y, Z happened. So why didn't you report it? And she says, well, the doctors at the hospital told me I should think about it before I report.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you think about it? If something happened, you should have reported. It's more than 72 hours. So that was the end of it. I mean, it's the writing is in the wall. This person can do anything.
Question. How old was she when you guys met?
How old was she? She was in. How old was she? She's born in '90, so she was in her 20s.
In her 20s?
Yeah, late 20s, late 20s.
Do you think probably it's because she was young? Because I'm just as in listening to everything that you have to say, I think there's a bit of immaturity.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's nothing like being too young. It depends on.
I think that's
Maturity you can say, but not being young, because you can be young and mature.
And you can still be old and immature.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think one, her not being in a situation where she has to be responsible, because being a wife, there's a lot of work to it. It's not just now you're not a boyfriend and girlfriend, baby and whatever. This is your husband, this is your wife. So the do's and don'ts. Basically, it's a compromise. Because
by the time you guys were doing the traditional wedding, was it a decision that you made that you want to, or you decided to do it because of the pregnancy?
oh no, it was something that I decided to do. Yeah, we decided to do it. So looking back, it's just how you're brought up. I'll be very honest. Being a wife, you learn to be a wife. It's not something you wake up one day you want to be a wife. No, you cannot. Of course, you have someone to look up to. Maybe a friend, your mother, your auntie, or someone close to you. You look up to. I want to be A, B, C, D. But that wasn't the case. like I said, looking back, it's something that perhaps she didn't see it coming. A lot of responsibilities. I thought things would be different. I never envisioned, going the divorce way. Because personally, I never experienced it as a child. But I mean, things had to be the way they ended up. I mean, there is no way. I mean, this is person you can. I mean, the other things besides, those two events. I don't drink. Someone comes in drunk, 3 hours in the morning. They knock on the door. They'll expect you to open. When you open, it becomes an array of whatever. You know what follows. So I've just had it. That was it.
When you're dating, was she drinking?
Um, the only time we drink is when we go out with her. That's it.
So she was drinking.
She was drinking. Yeah, she was drinking, but not to that extent. Never gotten drunk. Never gotten drunk.
What did you like about her for you to have decided I am ready to go and do the traditional?
Well, as a person, she was caring. You know, she you can tell. But like I said, you don't really know someone. You cannot hide who you are. You can never hide who you are. It just takes a second for you to show your true colors. But personally, I believe, nothing against women, but women don't lie who they are. They always show their true colors each and every day. It's just that men are too blind to pick those red flags, but they're always there. Men they'll put up whatever show they want to put up, and they'll get away with it. And then maybe 3 years down the line, you're like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. Again, your question, was she drinking? Yeah. Was it a problem at that time? No, it wasn't. Until someone comes in drunk and all dramatic, it becomes a problem. So again, coming to finalize the whole process, we had to do another session now with her family. And, I had never told anyone of this. Now I had put it out there in the open for them to know exactly what led to, all this. And they were really shocked. I mean, it's why would you come into a place to embarrass me? Because you know exactly what happened. Why would you, I would perhaps shy away from being there, but it was a real embarrassment. I didn't want to share all that stuff, but I had to.
I still go back to what did you like for you to have decided I am ready.
And considering you say that there were so many red flags.
Looking back,
Do you feel like you could salvage by?
No.
Because it can be
Salvage.
that we've decided that we're going to do the traditional very rational bit, and then 3 years you decide she got pregnant, and then now you decide to go home. Because how it comes out is the reason as to why you went was
Because she was
of the baby.
pregnant. No.
But what you're saying is the red flags were there.
Why
But
didn't
still
you
decided-
approach?
Now when you started having issues, that's when I started to look back and see what did I miss out.
That was after the going to the family.
No. This was after all this drama, and I'm sitting down contemplating why are we where we are now.
So this is after you went to the home.
Yeah. So it was when I was actually deciding this is a decision I need to make. So I sit down and said, okay, what actually happened? What did I miss out? What did I miss in this whole scene? And I started looking back, red flags, but somehow I never paid attention.
Do you feel like you also had any red flags?
Maybe I did. Like I said,
I think like the way they say, we are all contributors.
Exactly, yeah. Like I said, there's three sides to a story. There's your story, my story, and there's the truth.
I think
Maybe.
one thing that hasn't been answered for me.
Okay, what did I see in her?
Yes, what did you see in her?
Well, I was in love with her.
What did you love about her?
Everything about her, I felt like she's the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Because of
So, like,
okay, let me
I mean, we had.
that.
I know you're saying that. I'm just saying we had spent time together, 3 years. So I thought, okay, I know this person well now, and I have strong feelings for her. So I think, I mean, it's time we formalize this relationship because she felt the same way. Yeah.
So I'll give you a good example of a friend of mine who was dating a lady, then they decided to go have their rural shoulder. They actually got married. And then after getting married, uh, his complaint was they got a divorce. He was like, she never used to listen to me. I'm like, you used to love the way she was rebellious.
exactly.
As in, you loved something. Now that she's carried it into the marriage, as you say, women don't change.
They don't change. They
I will
don't
carry
change.
it into my marriage. So when you're telling me something, I will push back because that's my nature.
That's who
Now
I am.
that's why he felt they can't stay
They
together.
can stay together.
So I'm asking you, what did you like? And probably that's the
That's
same
me.
thing she brought into the marriage. Because what
Well-
are the red flags really?
The red flags were she was flirting a lot. She used to flirt a lot.
We all fly.
And you okay with
Oh
that?
no! I confronted at that time, but I didn't know she was going to take it that far. Even when after we got married, you know, I found her in certain situations, and I asked her. She said, "Well, that's all. That's all it is. But nothing else happens. But there's nothing I can do about it. It's a weakness I have. Blah blah blah. You know, I'm like
She did
bullshit.
flirt with you.
What do you mean she didn't flirt with me?
I mean,
She
before you
did.
guys-
Yeah,
She got married.
yeah.
And probably she was flirting with 2, 3 more guys.
Oh yeah. I mean that's the
That you knew
case.
of, right?
Well, yes.
Yes.
And I confronted about it, and you know, it came and left. I mean, it came in.
Something to
So it's something you're very sure she would probably bring into the
I
marriage.
didn't know she was taken to the next level in the marriage.
I think, to be very honest, in any marriage, and this is what I always tell myself, I'd rather date for the longest time. Because I always feel when we get into a marriage environment, most of the time it's the man to create the environment. I just have to plug and play. Because to be very honest, probably half flirting then and then coming in. And when she said it's just flirting, she's just flirting.
You know, like the way they say once you get married,
Yeah.
he's taking you out, he stops. If he was flirting you,
Yeah.
did you stop flirting? You have
There's
to-
something
No,
you probably stopped doing.
no, has no excuse. There is no excuse of stepping out.
No, there's no excuse of stepping
But
out.
Oh yeah,
But
she
would
stepped
you-
out. She stepped out.
That's
She
what
didn't
I'm
step
saying.
out. Yeah, that's what
It
I'm
wasn't
saying.
immediately.
Oh, that was immediately. But what I'm saying is, if you get into a relationship, there is no way. I mean, it's gonna come to a point where you just sit in the house, you have nothing to say. I mean, doesn't give you permission to go out and do something else.
It
Did
doesn't.
the fun, the joy, you know, like the way you guys were
Yeah.
dating before now the marriage.
Like now
if
she's
you're
here,
flirting,
you
you're
decided-
doing-
No, it was there.
Now-
It was there.
So she was also flirting with you.
Yeah.
The environment to me is what I will question. I'm not taking her side, as you say. There's your
There's
truth.
no
There's three sides of a
and
story.
then yours,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the environment, was it the same? Because at some point when things got bad, you had to tell her to do a couple of things. Was this the case before, or was she coming in knowing this guy has everything figured out? Was this a conversation of when you're coming in, and this is what we always talk in the podcast, you want a traditional wife, but you want the modern offerings from a wife. But you don't want to take a modern wife because you know she'll be a bit rebellious and push back.
Oh no.
What sort of things?
Oh no. It has nothing to do with a modern wife and a traditional wife.
Yeah.
A husband, wife, they have their own place in the home. So when you say traditional setting, when you get married to someone, you stop being. Let me say you're getting into a responsibility, and there's a way you're supposed to act. You're supposed to behave. Of course, respecting this other person that you're living
But
with.
you're not changing who you are.
Yeah.
No, you're not changing. You're not changing. You're supposed to show respect. All men want is respect. Basically, that's it. So how do you respect your man? You don't go out there. You don't step out. You know, there's some things you wouldn't do. I mean, as much as I'm a guy, I'm dating someone. There are things I wouldn't do on their face unless I want to pass a message. Yeah.
But if I was getting into the relationship knowing there's this notion of I got you, you know, as in just that, as in when I'm getting into this your home because I'm moving in as a woman, there are things we probably need to discuss.
Yeah.
If I've never been the one to provide 1, 2, 3, you've always done it. When
Let me
things
start doing
thicken,
it.
you tell me to start doing it.
Um,
That's
no, that wasn't the case.
No,
The
no, I'm
setup
just
was the
saying.
same from the
Oh yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
The same.
It was the same all the way,
Eating.
all the way.
So she knew she had to provide for some bills in the house.
Oh no, she never had to provide nothing.
But now you're asking her to provide.
Exactly because of her behavior. Because now I've come to a
So you
scenario.
guys are changed in the relationship.
I had it changed when I found out she was going to meet some other guy for some reason. That was towards me coming to decide, this thing is over, and that was even before that led to her to come up with this theory of this child has been sexually assaulted. So nothing had changed. Always been the provider, but now when I'm seeing someone behaving in a certain way, I'm like, okay, fine. You think you can do that? Okay, go ahead and do this.
Did you have some happy years in the middle of all this? Like, did
Oh
you
yeah,
continue to?
we did. We had a nice time. We had fun. I don't know what changed. I don't know what changed. Somehow, let me say, the pandemic brought the real us out there. It brings out because you have nowhere to go. You sit there, look at each other. If things don't work out, you have to figure out how to make things work. You basically look at each other. We have to figure out, what's going to happen. But like I said, being a husband, there's a lot of work to it, and also being a wife, there's a lot of work to it. It's not just because what's being a wife? Basically, what's being a wife? And what is being a husband as well. So remember, this time you're no longer dating. You have to live with each other's faults. I have my minus, you have your minus. We have to accommodate each other. There is no winner. Basically, we have it's a you compromise. You meet somewhere. One of you cannot be 6 feet or 12 feet high, and the other one is 2 feet down. And I want to be the one. I'm right. I'm never wrong. Basically, it's just living with each other. You have to live with each other.
As a wrap up, I think by the time you divorce, there's always two sides of the story. I think there's one who didn't do what another person didn't do when you get. So it's both parties. Because if you had the option of doing something right, maybe you could have saved or salvaged the marriage. And I think also of the opinion, I want to say this, as in, do what makes you happy. If you think living separate lives is what is needed to be done, then just go for it. However, when you get married, okay, as in yours was tradition. I'm not saying it doesn't have much weight, but I'm just thinking personally, if I ever get married, I'd want to continue dating my partner. Because dating means please show me your good side and the bad side. Because that's when we start, because we can't live a pretentious life the 2, 3 years we are dating and then I get to see the real you.
Okay,
As in just bring it all out there, let's see if we can live with this. Because by the time you get married, you stand in the altar and exchange your vows. You're ready for anything and everything. But I would prefer getting to know who exactly you are from the word go. We won't blame it on the pandemic. I think it was personally it was more of chini and then now let's do this.
I mean,
Yeah.
No one does that. But when it came to the point, I was ready to salvage the whole situation. But when it comes to the point where you're pointing a finger at me, accusing me of being a suspect, that was the end of it. That was the end. There is no way I'll live in the same household or under the same roof as someone who's going to do that. Everything turned out to be nothing. And my question still, up to now, why that story of, someone has messed with the child? So where did that come from?
Can you imagine this child growing up and getting wind of such a story?
She will one day. She will.
Are you single?
Um, what do you mean single?
Are you seeing someone?
Okay.
Are you dating?
There's dating and seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's dating and seeing. Yes, I'm dating.
You're dating.
Yeah,
Okay, that's.
I'm dating other people.
You're dating
No,
other
like it
people.
has to be specific. I mean,
Are you
Am I in a relationship now? A day? No,
like in
no.
a relationship? Okay, so
Well,
you're testing the water.
see, when you say relationship, what do you mean? I mean,
Like you're lost to someone.
no.
You're dating so many people to get to
or
find
you're seeing
your.
people. You're testing the water.
I'm seeing dating. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, would you want to see more people?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We
I
have,
mean,
we have our viewers.
please
He's single.
hit me
Not
up.
seeing other people. That's just being single.
Yeah, I'm single.
We'll share your
Yeah.
handles.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
you
you.
very much for your story. I think we'll pick separate
we
conversation
should.
on some.
Please do.
Just say it.
Please do.
But we are out of time, so I think we can wrap it up for today.
Sure.
That was a heavy one, personally. Again, we say thank you to Kimani for coming to talk about that. And maybe our viewers can pick one or two. They can send in their questions or whatever to be able to handle that. It was a pleasure having you as usual. Sheila.
We'll see you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get on our Instagram. You'll get to hear our thoughts on so many things. But we'd also like to hear from you. So please just drop us a DM on Instagram or share your thoughts on today's episode. Thank you very much and have a good week.